So the Chicago Bears just made an unusual move, and I have a question for you. How often do you see a 6'4" corner? That's exactly what the Bears did. And as you can see, I'm in beautiful Arizona for spring break. I promise I'm going to try to bring back some nice weather for you guys. So let's kind of get to this because this signing is kind of fun. We're talking about a 26-year-old corner, Nahshon Wright. He just signed a one-year deal, and they also re-signed 5 players total. I'm going to get to that, but first, let's talk through this signing of Wright. And Wright is a guy that the Vikings, they just traded a former second-round pick for just this last year. And the Vikings sent corner Andrew Booth to the Cowboys in exchange for Wright. And Booth, he was a 2022 second-round pick by the Vikings. So the Vikings obviously invested some capital in this guy. And then before this happening, Wright, he was a guy who was drafted 99th overall by Dallas out of Oregon State in 2021. He ended up playing 3 years for the Cowboys. He saw action in, I think, 33 games with 3 starts. And there's a bit of a theme with the recent signings here because the Bears are emphasizing all 3 facets of the game, and I really like this. Wright was a core special teamer. Special teams matter. And there's also a Bears link as well. New defensive backs and defensive pass game coordinator Al Harris. He coached him up during his time with Dallas, so obviously he knows the player that the Bears are getting. He got some action with the Vikings last year. He got cut recently. Now he's a Bear. So kind of digging into this just a little bit more. I mean, he's not going to be a starter, but it's just another intriguing signing, right? He's got the size and length, something that might provide Harris and Dennis Allen something to work with here. A nice depth piece, tons of special teams value. And I want to give you just a little more background on him here now that we're in the offseason waiting for the draft to start. We've got a little extra time to kind of dig into these players just a little bit more. So let's look at Wright here. He came out of Oklahoma State. He was actually regarded as a really high upside late round prospect in the draft, but kind of surprising. The Cowboys selected him in the 3rd round. They must have obviously seen something, and granted, Coach Al Harris, he was there, so he knows the player. So we're looking at over 4 seasons. Wright has accumulated 37 tackles, 4 pass breakups, 1 interception. But once again, his primary contribution was on special teams. He was credited with 7 tackles and a blocked punt return touchdown. Durability has been a little bit of a concern. He missed most of the 2023 season on injured reserve with an ankle injury, and then in 24 spent most of the season on the Vikings practice squad. So this is really another competition player for training camp that the Bears have signed. Could be a really fun player to fill out the roster, or he might miss the cut entirely. His size at corner, though, it caught my eye. I wanted to cover this for you, and anyways, we've got time, right? So let's get to the other signings, and these are a little more exciting. Chicago just announced 5 players they re-signed this week as they start their OTAs, and they re-signed 5 players. They posted it on X. The team also signed 1 restricted free agent and 4 exclusive rights free agents. So let's get straight to the Bears, what they posted on Twitter. We've signed restricted free agent Chris Williams and exclusive rights free agents Jonathan Ford, Daniel Hardy, Bill Murray, and Amir Speed. So these are all guys that move the needle for different reasons. I really like this roster construction. This excites me here. And we're talking about during training camp in August, the Bears traded a 6th-round draft pick to the Cleveland Browns. That's how Williams joined the team, and we got a 7th-round pick. So what did Williams do? He appeared in all 17 games for the Bears last year, and he actually had a career-high 23 tackles and 3 sacks. So he was significant. Kind of looking at his contract, it's another 3-year deal. It's worth $3.26 million. And then the 4 exclusive rights free agents, their contracts work just a little different. They're actually inked to 1-year contracts for about $1.03 million. There's no guarantees on any of these deals, so each guy, they're going to have to still battle to make the 53 in camp. I'm looking forward to the competition. And now we're looking at Ford, another big-bodied defensive tackle. He's a former 7th-round pick by the Green Bay Packers, appeared in 4 games for the Bears last year, recorded 9 tackles, and that actually includes, what does it include? 9 tackles, 1 for a loss. Sorry, I had to look that up. So Now we've got Daniel Hardy, and this is actually a team favorite for myself personally. He appeared in 17 games for Chicago last season, recorded 12 tackles, but one forced fumble, and that was really significant. If you look back to that Tennessee game, opening up the season, Hardy, he was really key on that special teams play that really turned the tides for the Bears because the Bears were still pulling the stuff that they could not get the offense going. Daniel Hardy was a huge reason that the Bears were able to pull out that game. So he's really a favorite of mine. He has a high motor. Just a really, really, really good addition that the Bears kind of pulled out of nothing in the offseason. Now he gets to be with the Bears for another year. So we're looking at him also being a key member of that special teams unit, played most of the third phase snaps in 2024, and he also tied for the team with 11 special teams tackles. He also played in all 17 games, once again, one start, setting career highs across the board with 23 tackles, 3 tackles for a loss, 3 sacks, and 7 quarterback hits, which you gotta like a lot. So now let's get to Murray, last but not least. He appeared in 3 games for Chicago last year. Then he suffered that pec injury in October, sidelined him for the remainder of the season. But Murray, he was looking to be a really good depth piece on this offensive line. He really played some key snaps. He was pushed into playing those snaps due to injuries and kind of some ineptitude. But I was really happy with Murray's performance last year, and also glad that he's brought back to continue to provide depth for this offensive line, but not be a third stringer asked to do meaningful snaps, asked to start. He's just going to be a really good quality guy to have on this team. And now we're looking at Amir Speed. He played in only 2 games for Chicago in 2024, but we're kind of looking at Jalen Jones. He was jettisoned from the team. For you guys that watch a lot, I've been saying Jalen Johnson. Glad I got it right this time. Thank you for the messages. Speed is just a really good replacement, I think, level player for Jones to kind of still bolster that secondary unit. And like everybody else that's a backup on this cornerback unit and also some of these defensive units, you're going to be asked to play special teams and to do it really, really well. So I really love these signings. I think it's really good depth. There's been a rumor that I don't want to propitiate, but there is a rumor that Gervon Dexter showed up in camp quite light, looking more like a defensive end. So there's been some speculation that he might possibly move over to defensive end and maybe play inside and out. Dio, he is an inside and outside player. He can bump in at defensive tackle. So then that has led to some speculation that Gervon Dexter is going to move to end. The Bears are going to draft a defensive tackle. And then there's kind of a thing on the Bears 1920 Drive show that they were talking about their number 1 guys on the board, and what's-his-face, Mason Graham from Michigan, just happened to be in the background being interviewed. So a lot of speculation that, that means that the Bears are looking for Mason Graham. Maybe they'll trade up to get him. I don't think it's there, but it's worth noticing that Williams, he's going to bolster the unit. So is Ford. And we'll see what Dennis Allen decides to do with this defensive line. I think it's going to be exciting, and I appreciate you guys joining me as always. Bear down, and I will be back tomorrow from beautiful Arizona and hope the weather gets better in Chicago. Talk to you guys soon.